Hi there, this is NikitaNet, and in this video we'll talk about top and oil leaks in a Fiat Panda. And with that I mean 3 oil leaks I had a little while ago and that seemed to be fixed. So let's get out of this car and look under the hood. So what we've got here is a 1.2 liter Fiat Panda engine, and I had a little issue with this engine, well, this year. A little bit of oil leaking around the seals, and with those I mean the gasket I should say, that is here, right here, around, well, the valves. So the valve cover gasket leaked. There's also a little gasket right behind these bobines, or bobines as we call them here in the Netherlands, and that's an O-ring. But there was also a leak right here, and the general condition after, well, more than a decade of functioning was that this, well, engine was leaking oil from all the seals, right? Well, at least the top end seals. So let's go over what leaked and how I fixed it properly. So let's take a first gander at this little breather, well, hose construction thing, and I've got the original one that was on there right here, and it's not supple, as you can see. Hopefully, at least, it leaked oil because, of course, the valve cover covers the valves, and the valves are lubricated with oil. So this thing started to leak. Well, this old one started to leak at the backside and dripped basically all down the back of the engine, which wasn't good. So it got replaced and got proper clamps, original Fiat clamps on there, and the replacement part, at least for the breather hose, was 4653 6776-001, an original part, which is very nice, right? Well, I think so, because it stopped leaking. And the engine is cruddy at the moment, or at least a bit, because of course I've tested this out over a couple of 100 miles at least to ensure that it was properly fixed. So let's go to the next one and take a gander at that. So here are the bobines. This is basically a number of bobines on the side of the engine. This is the electronic control unit, one of 2 at least. And of course here is the air intake box. But behind this little bracket that contains these bobines, there is this little O-ring, which basically seals this side of the engine in regards to the valve cover. And as you can see, this wonderful little O-ring is brittle and has been replaced with part number, if I'm correct, 14463980-005. So let's put that back in the bag. But this is a little bit of an involved job to replace that O-ring. You basically have to remove the air box from the engine, disconnect it here, and well, try to get this bracket off. And there are 3 screws that are rather, well, inaccessible, but you can get this entire unit off without disconnecting a wire. Flip it out of the way once the air box is removed, of course, and then replace this seal on the back side of that bracket, because it's an integral sealing unit, one could say. It is an involved job. It takes about an hour, I would say, or at least it took me at least an hour, because I'm, well, a little bit fiddly, especially giving the, well, the placement of the 2 screws and 1, well, nut, I would say. Not sure about that because I did this a little while back, but there are 3 things you have to undo, and one of them is on the back, which means you basically need to use a socket with an extension, a small extension, and well, a swivel connection. Otherwise you won't be able to undo this bracket to get at this seal, and you'll notice it leaking on the top of the middle part of the engine, and unfortunately I can't show that right in this situation without removing components, and I'm not doing that because this all is functioning properly. So the last oil leak we had with this engine was this seal, the valve cover seal, that basically was in here a little while ago. And around the periphery of the engine, when this seal leaks, you'll see oil right about here and dripping down all over the engine. And it's a common problem. These seals wear out, and I replaced it with a generic one and also used a little bit of Loctite SI 5926 to seal it. At a certain point at least, because you do need to be very careful with using this stuff in combination with these seals, only on the prescribed points. But to replace this seal, you'll have to take out the entire airbox, detach and or remove this sensor, undo bolts around the entire valve cover, and there's also a little sneaky bolt, or bolt around the side of this thing. Lift it out, and then then you need to replace it and apply a little bit of Loctite at 2 points at least, and refer to your repair and shop manual for specifics around this subject, because this is a very involved job, although it is a simple one. Don't forget, you also have to detach this breather hose. That is another leak point, at least for this engine, that is solved. Right? So hopefully that was informative, and let's get back in the car because it is getting a little bit cold. So these top-end oil leaks are easy enough to fix. You do need to have a little bit of a handy inclination and willingness to solve these issues, because otherwise you'll just be pouring oil into the engine again. And if you've got something like we've got here that are regular vehicle inspections, then basically you'll get caught and you'll have to fix it anyway. So if you've got a small oil leak with these little finagly issues, a valve cover seal leak, a breather hose leak, or a little O-ring on the side of the valve cover that's leaking, you now know that it can be solved. I did it, and if I can do it, most likely you can as well. So hopefully you found this video interesting. Like or dislike this video at your pleasure, of course. Subscribe to the channel, and this is Nikita Net saying see you in the next video. Bye bye.